Hi everyone, I'm Joshi Zen from Future Human Art, and I'm here to take you on a walking tour through an introduction to crypto art. Now, this is not going to be an exact timeline through the history of crypto art. That would take hours and hours. What I want to do is just highlight some of the important technology, the aesthetics, and things that I find personally interesting that I think you will too. If you have no idea what NFTs are or what blockchain is, then I do recommend that you take a moment and learn a little bit about blockchain technology. You don't have to know a ton though. So the important things I'll just quickly summarize here. Blockchain is a peer-to-peer network. There's no centralized servers like Google or Amazon. It is truly a decentralized technology. And the most amazing thing is that it has proven to be something that can be trusted worldwide for currency and not held within a certain state or like government fiat currency. So that's why it's interesting from a financial perspective. What's interesting from an artwork's perspective is that it has made artwork available in a way in which we've never seen before in history. And that is what truly lights up my eyes. And I hope that you find that interesting as well. So we'll look at artworks that are specifically oriented towards the mechanics of the blockchain and also the conceptual aesthetics that have arisen from the internet. So I hope you're looking forward to this as much as I am. Let's dive in. All right, so here we are inside of a gallery. This is the Future Human Art avatar, I guess you could call him, the Future Human Art JPEG. And he's inside of our Intro to Crypto Art gallery space. And there are multiple spaces. So you see there's a little portal over here that goes to another gallery. So we'll come back to that later. So let's just turn around here and look at the first artwork. And it's called the Bernanke ASCII, though it actually wasn't specifically about Ben Bernanke. It was a tribute for Len Sassaman. So as you probably know, ASCII art has a long history unto itself, but here's the first one that was ever on the Bitcoin network. And as I said, it's a tribute to Len Sassaman. And it's also the offering with the joke that includes the Ben Bernanke image. And it's kind of a joke because Ben Bernanke was a detractor to Bitcoin. Len Sassaman apparently died by suicide as he struggled with depression. But interestingly, there are many who believe that he was a creator of Bitcoin under the alias Satoshi Nakamoto. So one day there's sure to be a movie about that. Let's move on to the next artwork here. Let me get this guy turned around, sorry. All right, so this artwork right here is generally considered to be the first NFT ever. The name of this piece is Quantum, made in 2014 by Kevin McCoy with technologist Anil Dash. This artwork was created on the Namecoin blockchain. Namecoin was the first altcoin, which was a code fork of the Bitcoin codebase that added new types of transactions, allowing public registration of data associated with an identifier or name. So that's why it was called Namecoin. McCoy later moved this artwork into the Ethereum ERC721 format for preservation, and it was eventually sold through Sotheby's. This artwork was made in 2013 by artist Peter Froelich. In fact, this is part artwork, part Bitcoin miner. It was actually hanging on a gallery wall in 2013, a year before the McCoy piece that you just looked at. And the title is Will Art for Cash, where art is a verb. Froelich is protesting how many artworks are just a handicraft formulated to make big sales. And the artist recalls, as I was looking at a few Banksy stencils I hadn't seen before, I had the idea to make this piece of art created for the sole purpose of creating money. This artwork is mounted on a rosewood panel, and inside the Baroque gold-plated frame are 4 early Bitcoin miners, and there's a small display showing the rate of the miners and the value of Bitcoins at the time. Froelich joked the work was not valuable like a piece of art from Jeff Koons, but since it was generating cash, he didn't need to find a buyer for the artwork. This artwork did need repairs. It actually melted the power cord at one point that was running to it, and also the Bitcoin miners that are within it are no longer capable of mining Bitcoin. All right, let's take a look across the gallery over here. So this is by artist Rhea Myers. This is also a conceptual art piece. It's called Is Art, open parentheses, token, close parentheses. It was made in 2014, and it also is an Ethereum-based artwork in the ERC 721 format. Conceptual art has found a nice home on the blockchain because it can permanently record some of the actions to an artwork that can be quite otherwise ethereal, pun intended. In this case, art is art when declared as such. Art is generally understood as, an activity or a product done by someone who is communicating an idea or an aesthetic or something that expresses an emotion. Of course, there are endless debates to be had about whether an artwork is done well or not, or if an artwork is truly conceptual or not. This one definitely falls in the conceptual camp. This piece is interactive, so you see the 3 frames here. The first one says this contract is art. The third one says this contract is not art. And in between is a representation where someone would click on this. And there's a dialog box that shows that in order to do this, it's going to cost money. So it's interesting that there's this financialization just to make a decision. And it also logs that decision on the blockchain forever. Sticking with the Rhea Myers theme here a little bit. Video game consoles, empty window frames, reflections ripple on the ground, beams of underwater sunlight. This one artwork is part of a larger series with different words and colors, and Myers, working on the edge between cryptography and digital graphics, asks in her own words, is this aesthetic? So let me read this quote to you from Rhea Myers. She says, "The rare art market demands something aesthetic to own. Token equals text loops this desire back through references of the complexly unknowable aesthetics of vaporwave in order to both satisfy and frustrate it. By doing so, it places the anxieties of blockchain true digital ownership into a state of mutual critical interrogation with the anxieties of the art market." So there's certainly some art speak in there, but I think the takeaway is that art is often self-referential. And in this case, it questions aesthetics. It implies that we can't really know what an aesthetic is when we first see it. And we may even think that it just totally doesn't exist. So if you look for vaporwave on YouTube, you're going to see it and probably going to think, oh yeah, back in the 1980s, I didn't think this Neo Geo stuff was art. But now looking back, I can see how it fits into the history of art. So Myers' work is pointing to that experience, and her conceptual work is pointing to the ability to feel art criticism in the moment. Okay, stepping away a little bit from the conceptual side and more into the kind of literal side. This is the Coca-Cola coin by Neely Lerner. She created a project called Neely Coins, which contains several brands. And I don't know if you can read it when you get up real close here. You can't really see it here, but basically the little black copy underneath the Coca-Cola logo says that this is an artist representation of this brand as a crypto coin. I'm trying to avoid copyright there. Neely Coins were created in 2014. Neely Coins were announced on the Bitcoin Talk forums, and when Neely Lerner announced this, she was endlessly ridiculed. Fortunately, she persevered and was able to launch her artwork on a platform called Counterparty, which is still around today. Counterparty was made as a peer-to-peer financial platform, but it included the ability to create your own tokens. So Neely declared, the Coca-Cola coin is the first in a series of coins which are made to present the future of cryptocurrencies and the future of a true free market, which breaks the state's monopoly on currency. What's immediately obvious is the attraction between branding and technology for scalable distribution. And it's almost ironic that Neely Lerner talks about how technology is going to break the monopoly of centralized state currencies while using a branded monopoly of sweet soda. Lerner talks about how people will want to be paid in and borrow credit from independent currencies like the Coca-Cola coin. My very literal takeaway is that we currently value the shared trust in centralized currencies, but that may shift how we understand value to be more brand or organizational centered instead of trust centered. After all, the blockchain is considered trustless because computer code runs repeatedly and consistently and doesn't require judgment, but clearly we have a ways to go. I'd be curious what you think.
It is so nice.
Okay, this is a artwork by Geraldine Juarez in 2013 called Hello Bitcoin. It's a performance piece where Juarez exhibits a video of a bonfire roasting SD cards and marshmallows. It's kind of the opposite of Nilly Lerner because Juarez is a Bitcoin detractor and feels that blockchain technology is anti-democratic. The SD card that she's burning here holds the key to the account where she has sent about $10 of Bitcoin, locking that money onto the Bitcoin blockchain forever. Juarez says assets as opposed to content are king. Investors believe that they're doing something good and changing the world by turning everything into an asset, which she calls the casino layer of the web, and that blockchain is just mostly concerned with speculation. She describes blockchain as a mathematical landfill, a wasteland of crypto assets, a digital monument honoring the collective rejection of the anti-democratic. Juarez also wrote an important essay called The Ghost Chain, a term describing blockchains that have low or no trading volume. Personally, I find her difference of perspective is refreshing, and there are some elements of truth here, but I can't completely accept her position that artists have been duped into using blockchain technology. I think there's so much opportunity to see artwork we never would have seen otherwise, and for that reason, I'm bullish on NFTs. All right, let's jump into the next gallery here.